Have you ever wondered how an airplane engine works? It's a marvel of modern engineering, isn't it? Engines that roar to life, powering massive metal birds to soar through the skies. It may seem complicated, but let's break it down into understandable chunks. There are various types of airplane engines, each with their unique characteristics and uses. But for our journey today, we'll focus on the jet engine, the powerhouse behind commercial flights. These engines, with their intricate parts and mechanisms, transform fuel into thrust in a series of steps, each as crucial as the next. We'll delve into the cycle of operation, dissect the parts of a jet engine, and unravel the mysteries of thrust and exhaust. In the end, we hope to provide a comprehensive understanding of how these mechanical wonders work. So, buckle up as we get ready to explore the fascinating world of airplane engines. To understand how an airplane engine works, we first need to understand a fundamental principle: Newton's third law of motion. This law states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Imagine you're on a skateboard. If you throw a basketball away from you, you'll move in the opposite direction, right? That's Newton's third law in action. Now, this may sound a bit too theoretical, so let's bring it down to earth. An everyday example is a balloon. When you inflate a balloon and let it go without tying it up, it zips around the room. The air rushing out of the balloon is the action, and the balloon moving in the opposite direction is the reaction. So, how does this principle apply to jet engines? Well, a jet engine works on the same principle, but instead of a basketball or air from a balloon, jet engines use a stream of hot gas. This gas is formed when air drawn into the engine is compressed, mixed with fuel, and ignited. The hot gas then shoots out from the back of the engine, and this is our action. The equal and opposite reaction, that's the jet engine, and therefore the airplane, being propelled forward. It's like the balloon zipping around the room, but on a much, much larger scale. Think of it as a continuous cycle of suck, squeeze, bang, blow. Air is sucked into the engine, squeezed and mixed with fuel, ignited to cause a bang, and then blown out the back to provide thrust. This cycle is repeated over and over again, every second, to keep the airplane moving forward. So, in essence, a jet engine is a high-tech, high-powered, highly efficient reaction machine, using the principles laid down by Sir Isaac Newton over 300 years ago. Now that we understand the basic principle, it's time to delve into the parts of a jet engine. A jet engine might look complicated, but it can be broken down into four main parts. These are the intake, the compressor, the combustion chamber, and the turbine. Let's take a closer look at each of these. First up is the intake. This is the part of the engine that captures the air from outside. It's designed to maximize the amount of air that can be drawn in, while minimizing the drag on the aircraft. Think of it as the engine's mouth, gulping in huge volumes of air to feed the mighty beast within. Next, we move on to the compressor. This is where the real action starts. The compressor's job is to squeeze the incoming air, increasing its pressure. It's a bit like taking a deep breath and then holding it in, ready to blow out a birthday candle. This high-pressure air is then sent onwards to the combustion chamber. The combustion chamber is where things start to heat up, literally. Here, the high-pressure air is mixed with fuel and ignited. This process creates a high-pressure and high-temperature gas, which is then ready to be expelled. It's a bit like a dragon's fiery breath, ready to be unleashed. Last but certainly not least, we have the turbine. The high-pressure gas from the combustion chamber is directed at the turbine blades, causing them to spin. This spinning motion is harnessed to power the compressor and other systems on the aircraft. It's like the engine's powerhouse, converting the energy from the combustion process into useful work. So, there you have it. From the intake capturing the air, to the compressor squeezing it, the combustion chamber igniting it, and finally the turbine using it to generate power. Each part of a jet engine plays a crucial role in making the airplane move. Let's see how these parts work together. Now that we know the parts, let's see how they function together in a continuous cycle. Imagine a whirlwind of activity happening within the heart of an airplane. This spectacle is the cycle of operation in a jet engine. It's a process that's as rhythmic as the beating of a heart, and it all begins with the intake. The intake is the jet engine's nose. It's like a giant nostril, gulping in huge amounts of air. It's not just casually breathing in, but rather it's a powerful, forceful intake necessary to fuel the engine for its immense job. Once the air is in, it's time for the compressor to take over. The compressor is like a high-pressure workout for the air. It squeezes the air, compacting it into a smaller space. This high-pressure air is now ready for a fiery transformation. In the combustion chamber, the compressed air meets its fiery partner, the fuel. They mix together, and then they ignite. This causes a miniature explosion, but don't worry, it's meant to happen. This explosion releases a tremendous amount of energy in the form of hot gases. The hot gases then rush out of the combustion chamber and into the turbine. The turbine is a bit like a windmill. It doesn't generate power from the wind, but from the hot gases. As the gases rush past, they spin the turbine around. But here's the beautiful part. As the turbine spins, it powers the compressor. It's a symbiotic relationship, a never-ending cycle. The intake breathes in air, the compressor squeezes it, the combustion chamber ignites it, and the turbine uses the energy to keep the process going. This cycle, this dance of parts and processes, is what powers the airplane, allowing it to soar through the skies. It's a testament to human ingenuity, a marvel of engineering that happens right beneath the wings of an airplane. That's the basic cycle of a jet engine. But what happens to the hot gases after they leave the turbine? The hot gases don't just disappear after they leave the turbine. They play a crucial role in propelling the airplane. This is where the magic of thrust and exhaust comes into play. You see, when the hot gases exit the engine, they don't just vanish into thin air. These gases are expelled with a force, and it's this force that creates what we call thrust. Thrust is essentially the push that propels the airplane forward. It's like blowing up a balloon and then letting it go. The air rushing out of the balloon propels it forward, and in a similar way, the hot gases rushing out of the engine propel the airplane. But how exactly does this work? Well, it all comes down to a principle you might remember from your high school physics class, Newton's third law. This law states that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. In the case of an airplane engine, the action is the hot gases being forced out of the back of the engine. The equal and opposite reaction is the forward movement of the airplane. These gases are expelled through an exhaust system, which is designed to direct the flow of gases in a specific direction, usually straight out the back of the engine. It's the force of this expulsion that pushes the airplane forward. So, in essence, the engine works by sucking in air, compressing it, igniting it to create hot gases, and then expelling these gases out the back. The force of these gases exiting the engine creates the thrust that propels the airplane forward. It's a beautifully simple concept, but one that requires a complex and finely tuned machine to achieve. The engine must be able to withstand the intense heat and pressure of the combustion process, and it must be able to efficiently convert the energy of the hot gases into forward motion. And that, in a nutshell, is how an airplane engine works. So, we've taken a fascinating journey through the workings of an airplane engine. We've dissected the basic principles of jet engines, learning that they operate on the simple yet powerful concept of thrust and exhaust. We've explored the integral parts that make up a jet engine, each playing a crucial role in ensuring the smooth flight of the aircraft. From the compressor that sucks in and pressurizes the air, to the combustion chamber where fuel is burnt, and the turbine that powers the compressor, every component has a unique and essential function. We've also delved into the cycle of operation, understanding that it's a continuous process of intake, compression, combustion, and exhaust. This intricate dance of components and processes is what lifts a massive airplane off the ground and keeps it soaring in the skies. The marvel of flight is indeed a testament to human ingenuity. Next time you fly, you'll have a better understanding of what's happening beneath the wings. Safe travels!